What's going on, people, and welcome back to Total Spurs. And I'm joined today by Delane, first debut for the new season. Before we get into it, brother, how are you?
Yeah, good man, good. Had a bit of time off. Spent time with family, not worrying about football. Things. Obviously, Spurs things as we're here to talk about. But look, I'm glad to be back and glad to be part of the new season. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, well, we will be getting into it. But before we do, guys, make sure you like and subscribing to the channel. Uh, Recently, we did hit 100 subs, so thank you very much. We have started to skyrocket after that. We're close to 110 subs already. So please smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please, down below, hit those comments up. Let us know your thoughts and your feelings. And, give us your best insight on what we have to talk about today. So, going into it, we're actually going to talk about the possible defense transfer targets. There's been a lot of names thrown around. The most out there one at the moment is Tapsoba, who we're actually going to start with. We have apparently agreed personal terms, but his fee is going to be roughly around 40 to 50 from Bayer Leverkusen. Now, I've watched a fair bit of highlights the last few days, and I know highlights can cherry pick good things about players, but I've even tried to get some footage of actual games for Leverkusen from last season, and I'm really liking the way this guy looks. He's tall, strong. Um, he has good, perception of the space in and around him and behind him. Seems to be able to pick the ball out of the air and intercept very well. And he's actually fairly quick for a tall. Looks like bloody a guy on stilts. Looks like Peter Crouch out the back because his legs are long as hell. But what are your thoughts, D? Do you know much about him, and what do you reckon that he's going to go?
Well, to be honest, I haven't really watched much of the Bundesliga. We can't get it over here in Australia, or we can get a little bit of it, but not too much. But look, for what I've seen, the highlights I've seen of him, as you said, can't really go off highlights. But for what I see and for what hearing, he could be the player that we could really go for. Um, yeah, in terms of the fee and all that, yeah, look, it's gonna be a bit pricey, you know. But these are the type of players, if you really want these type of players, you're gonna have to pay the money for it. So I mean, look, I'm all for it. It's the thing is, can he work with Romero? Like we all know our Romero is a hot-headed player. I think he can. I think he might be able to, might be able to turn Romero into that centre back that we want. And look, Tapsoba is probably maybe my go-to at the moment. There's other ones we have to talk about, but look, yeah, for what I've seen from this guy, he's strong. He can play on. He plays on the left, mind you, and he's a right footer, which is really. I thought we were going to be going for these left-footed centre backs, but he plays on the left for what I see. But for what I see, man, he's just really, really one of those natural players that we really want. And what is he? Only 24, 25?
Yeah, 24. He's 24 this year. He
Yeah,
25 next year. So just born before the new millennium.
yeah,
I think he was born in 1999. Obviously, 24 years. But you touched on Romero a bit, and this is something that I think that we're not going to be able like really think about until later on in the season. But what's your
yeah.
thoughts on maybe Ange? Because we both live in Australia. We know how the Australian coaches. We played rugby league together when we were kids. We know the
Mm-hmm.
mindset of Australian coaches, and
Yeah.
we know the no not nonsense policy that they tend to have. And Ange seems to have this. Do you think that Ange is going to kind of pull Romero in a little bit and go, hey mate, like pull your head in a bit, like you, kind of how Potters tried to do with Dele Alli, but because in comparison, Romero's a bit older. He has a bit more experience than Dele Alli had. Do you think like Ange might be able to have a bit of an influence on Romero?
Well, I hope so because Romero does need a little bit of a tune-up because if he does what he did last season for us, doing the sliding tackles were unnecessary, and just probably gonna pull him by the ear, which most our coaches used to do, like literally not pull you by the ear, but literally screaming ear, like, why'd you make that kind of tackle? Like, you shouldn't be making those kind of tackles, or you shouldn't be doing those kind of things on the footy field. But I think, look, Ange is really gonna be monitoring Romero's situation and monitoring how he plays, because if Romero doesn't play how he did when he first came, then I think Ange is really gonna go out and go, look, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that. If you do that, you're gonna get pulled off. I don't care how good you are, I don't care if you're a World Cup player, I don't care, you're getting pulled off. So I mean, Romero's gonna have his handful with Ange, and look, this is what Ange does, and this is the type of manager we need. We need a manager to just go, look, if these players are not performing, they come straight off the field. So, yeah, look, I'm excited about the season. Obviously Ange is Australian, but Australian and half Australian, half Greeks, if you want to put it in that terms.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but it's Romero's going to be having his hands full with Ange Boston, hopefully.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring that point up because the next few guys we're going to talk about, they're all going to be in that back line, and they're all going to have to play the way Ange needs them to play, and they're going to be playing out of the back a lot in Ange's system. That's why I think Vicario may have been targeted, because he will feed it to the centre backs. And Tapsoba looks really good on the ball too. He looks quite good on the ball. That's why I wanted to bring that point up. He seems to be able to carry the ball. He's confident. He's not afraid. What I noticed, like with Dyer, Davies, Sanchez, and I want to touch on Sanchez at the very end because I got a little insight on Sanchez that I got last night. But I find that they're quite erratic when they pass back, or they tend to hold onto the ball too long and then used to give it back to Lloris. And we all know Lloris is shocking at ball to feet. So, but Tapsoba looks like he's quite confident in his ability with the ball at feet too. So that's something that I really noticed, and I think he's going to, if we do bring him in, he's going to do well. I really am confident, and I think for me he is my main target. But this next bloke, I know that you have been talking about him all day to me. Mickey van der Ven, pretty much unknown for me, plays at Wolfsburg, young. I think he's 21 or 22 centre back for Wolfsburg.
Yeah, I think he's 22.
Dutch. But you were telling me he's one of the quickest players in the Bundesliga.
One of the quickest centre backs. There's been reports out there that he's fairly quick, and I mean, look, if he's quicker than they're saying, then look, he could be the next candidate for us if we don't get the Tapsoba over. Like I've just watched a bit of highlights when I seen there was I think it was Fabrizio Romano saying we were looking at him. I watched a couple of his highlights. He's pretty decent, He's a left footer. He's really quick. The price tag is you're gonna be asking for it. But he's young, and this is the kind of players we need to start going for. Start going for these young up and coming centre backs. Obviously he plays for international. He plays for Dutch in the international, so he's a Dutch. So look, I'm pretty sure Stevie will probably know him. Who's it? Van Dijk will really know him well. So, I mean, look, it's another player that could be interesting. If they get the Tapsoba deal over. So, I mean, look, the asking price I think was 36 mil. They're asking for.
Oh no, I think it's 26 million pounds. I think it's 30 million euros.
Okay, well, got that wrong. Well, yeah. So I mean, look, you're gonna be asked if that's another.
Yeah, it's a big ask, and the reason why I brought him up second is because there's a possibility we could be getting Clement Lenglet back. Now, I know, we don't want him. However, like I said, there was a bit of insight last night, right?
Yeah.
6 mil is kind of a steal for a centre back that has played with us for a year. And look, I'm not saying he should be first choice. I'm not saying he should be second choice. I'm saying he should be there just in case we get injuries. I think this Van der Ven guy can be the backup. I think he's like a future investment. But 26 mil at a future investment is quite a steep price considering that we need a starter. And if let's say we do get a Tapsoba deal, Then we also get Mickey van der Ven. That's 60 to 75 million that we've spent, and I heard Ange's only getting about 100 mil this year, plus whatever he makes off the sales. So I think it's a good option. I think if Tapsoba deal falls through and we're looking for a young centre back to play on that left hand side, because he is the only left-footed centre back we are going for, apart from Langley. I think it's a good way to go. We could even get him and maybe Bremer or Adarabayo from Fulham. I know we're linked with him as well. We're going to talk about next. But you told me about him. I looked him up a little bit, and he does look fairly decent. I mean, anybody's better than what we have. Dyer, Tanganga, Davies,
100%.
Sanchez, Lamella, Langley. Sorry, not Lamella. Langley. But going on that Langley part, I do think for a $6 million, it's not a no-brainer, but it's more of it's a good contingency plan if all else fails. That should be the little bit of business that we do, and then we get one or two, mainly one massive centre back on top of that, and then maybe a backup later on when we start selling a few players. Maybe Mickey van der Ven can be bought towards the end of the transfer window if he's still available. Once we sell the likes of Dyer, Davies, Tanganga.
Mickey van der Ven's getting looked at by Liverpool. So I mean, yeah, look, there's a big pool there. So I mean, look, if we don't get him, look, I'm not gonna be disappointed if we don't get him. Like there is other options out there. As you said, Langley could be the backup option for
the alternative to him. Yeah.
So I mean, Langley could be that alternative, like for $6 million, like that to steal, but you have to be the backup. I'm sorry, but he's not starting if we get the Tapsoba deal done. So I mean, look, Mickey, he's getting. I think he's getting watched by a lot of clubs. Liverpool are pretty much looking at him. I think there's a few other clubs. I can't remember the name on the top of my head, but yeah, look, I will keep him in mind. I will keep him in mind if we do the Tapsoba deal, and then obviously if we wanted to go for another one, I would go Mickey. Just because, he's a left footer, and that's what we want on the left. So I mean, but we have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, well, the thing is I think we need a bit of height and someone to be able to compete in the air this year, because Romero doesn't do that very well. And as much as Dyer is big, tall, and has a massive head, he does not move. And I'm going to say that to anybody that's watching right now. Please send me a clip of Dyer doing a tackle, because I've never seen him make one. I have never seen that guy make a tackle. When he's played centre back in our team, centre defensive, he made tackles. As a centre back, I have not made him made a tackle, and I don't care what anybody says. I know the Maldini quote is, "A good defender doesn't need to make a tackle." I get that, but Dyer is not a good defender. He's 100%. The first one to go for me. For sales, but with the height, that's why this Tapsoba 6'4". I think Mickey van der Ven is 6'2", 6'3". This next guy is the tallest out of all of them, and we already brought him up. Adarabayo from Fulham. He's 6'5", plays in the Prem, plays for Fulham, as I just said, and he's English, so that would also add to our English quota, which we really need. Because we need to boost that quota up, because we do have a lot of international players, and he's probably the cheapest out of all. I mean, Fulham might play hard because he's English tax and all that sort of stuff, but he's worth around 16, 17 million euros. Obviously, it might jump up to about 22, 23. If Fulham want to play hardball, ex-Man City youth player, like I said, playing in and around the Prem this year. I think he played about 32 games last year. He played 25 last year for Fulham, so he played pretty much 3/4 of the season. And look, I think he's a good second or third choice if we can't get our Tapsoba deal done. Or for me, I would probably go for Bremer if we don't get Tapsoba, purely because of the experience. But Adarabayo is another good shout, and people were saying if we get Tapsoba, Adarabayo is the next guy that we get to have that English quota, but also a decent centre-back, tall centre-back to come in just in case. And be honest, that'd probably be the way I go. I'd probably get Tosin after we get either Tapsoba or Bremer. That's my go-to. Mickey van der Ven, still think maybe we need to get first teamers in this team or experienced centre backs that are going to be able to hit the ground running, because we were shambles last season. But
100%.
Tosin, what's your thoughts on Tosin?
Yeah, look, I just said it. It brings that English quota up. Look, he's the tallest centre back that we're basically talking about. Yeah, look, the trying to get him from Fulham, look, it'll be hard. Fulham will try to hold on to him. I think it'll be tough to try to get away from Fulham, but I think, and plus he plays decent. For what I haven't watched Fulham too much, but for what I heard, he's a decent centre back. He doesn't make too many mistakes. Don't know the age. Is he only 26?
He's 25. He's actually older
25.
than Tapsoba.
Oh wow! So he's 25. So I mean, look, that's still around the age group that we're trying to go for. So I mean, look, he would be a shout out if say for instance, if we do the Tapsoba one and we wanted another one, I would go for him. Tosin, I would go for Tosin. I think he'll be definitely the next one. If Mickey van der Ven is too much for us, then yeah, it'll be Tosin. I think Tosin will be the next best option to boost our defensive. So yeah, look, he's definitely a shout out into our defensive line. He can really help us out. He can really help Romero in those high balls. If Romero can't get it, Tosin would be behind him.
Well, it's like Romero doesn't have any aerial bloody presence. Like, what was that goal that went over the top of him and fucking who buried? What game was it? I can't remember. The ball went over the top of him. He wasn't even watching, and then someone came in at the back post and buried it without even thinking. And
yeah,
I just haven't seen Romero, and I feel like we need presence. And I'm looking at the stats. So I've got the stats up comparing for all five guys that we're talking about today. And Tosin has the best aerial duels, albeit he hasn't had as many as the likes of Bremer, but he's on a 70% win ratio for aerial duels, playing at Fulham, playing in a lesser team.
Exactly.
And he doesn't really have a good win ratio, but that's obviously to do with the team that you're in. But personally, like, the thing is, because we're also going for Madison, looking like we're going for like a winger like a Barnes to help the back up with Sonny. If we don't make the sales, it's going to be really, we're going to have to be very particular of who we buy. If we're only going to give Ange 100 mil, 18 of that's already gone to Vicario. I do like that kind of business because Raya wanted 40 for Raya. We have an extra 22 million to chuck on Madison. Because that's the deal. We've agreed personal terms. Madison wants to come. It's just a little finicky stuff with Leicester. But this is, the money is the key here. And the next guy, for me, is the most experienced, probably the best choice in terms of combination with also Romero, because he is coming from the Italian league, which is going to be Gleason Bremer. At Juve, we were linked to him last year. Before he went to Juve, didn't get him. He's a bit older. He's 26. Played in good defenses. Obviously, Italy's very, very renowned for their defensive play. And for me, he's probably the Tapsoba looks like it's the go-to for me. But Bremer is a close second, and for me, it's either Tapsoba and Bremer. If you get one of those, then you look at the next tier, which for me would be Tosin and Van der Ven would be those two underneath. I would love to get three. I'd love to get like Tapsoba, Van der Ven, and Tosin at the same Tapsoba, Tapsoba, Tosin, and I'd love to get all three of those, or Bremer and the other two. But it looks like we're probably going to get maybe one, maybe two, depending on how the money goes. So
I think we get two. If we get the Tapsoba deal done, I think we'll probably go for like a.
I think we'll go for Tosin. I think Tosin's the cheapest, and he's got the most experience, whereas Van der Ven doesn't. But Van der Ven has 4 years on him. So
is Tosin left foot or is he right foot?
Right foot. Everybody bar Van der Ven is actually right footed.
Okay.
But Bremer, and Bremer plays mainly on the right hand side, but I mean,
Do you
what do
really
you think
think
of
he'll
that? Like,
ever?
do you think Romero can move to the left, or do you think that whoever comes in has to be a left-sided centre back?
Well, not really. They don't have to be a left side centre back. Like they just don't know where to position on their left side. You know, like for instance, like we tried to put Sanchez there, and he didn't feel comfortable at all on the left hand side. He looked shocking. He looked
Is
like
it
he was out
because
of
of the
place.
system? Is that because we're playing three at the back?
Yeah, I reckon it could be in the system. Like
Because I
he
got a little
just.
insight on that Sanchez. He might stay.
I bet you do. But look, yeah, I think you don't have to
I think we
be
lost
a
him.
left footer to play on the left. I think you just gotta know. I think you just gotta know the system and just know where to position yourself right on the. And obviously, as a centre back, you gotta know where to position. But you just gotta. You basically gotta try to have both feet. You gotta try to work both feet. You know, you
Yeah,
gotta try to work with the left and the right. You can't just do the one because you just gotta lose your footing. So I mean, it's not really a big arcs. It's just yeah, he's just gotta make sure you use both feet when you play on the left.
yeah, but I think people with Bremer, I think
Mm.
people are worried that he is very right-sided, and that's Romero's position. I don't think he's ever played out of that right-hand side. So for me, I'd be happy with Bremer. I think Bremer's a really good defender. Looking at it, he has the best tackle ratio out of all 4 or 5 players that we're talking about today. Plays for Juve. Um,
Yeah.
I think he played in the majority of their games.
Would you have Romero on the left or would you have Bremer on the left?
I think Romero's better on the right. I just think he's more comfortable. And for me, when you're bringing a centre back in, we need to be looking at the left side because we've got, Romero on his day is a good. I'm not going to say he's a world class defender because he's not, but he's a
No, he's
good
not.
defender on his day, and he needs someone next to him now. If you're going on experience and a level head, I don't know the personality of Bremer, but experience is key. He's a year older than Tosin, has had a hell of a lot more experience playing in first team defenses.
Plus, he's in the
So
Brazil national team as well.
yeah, so for me, like he's a good shout, but I'm still leaning towards Tapsoba. I've seen some of the stuff I've seen of him. He looks very comfortable, and he's quite quick for someone who looks so tall. But Bremer, what's your final thoughts on Bremer? Do you reckon do you reckon he's the go-to or?
Look, I don't think he's the go-to. I think if we say, for instance, we don't get the Tapsoba deal done, and then we go for, say, for instance, Tosin, and look, it's hard because I like Tosin and Tapsoba as my two as well. But then Bremer's got the experience, and plus, I think he could calm, the Romero down. I don't think he's that aggressive as Romero. I don't think I haven't watched too much of him, but from what I heard from when he was playing, it's a Turin or Turin. I think that's the Italian team before he
No,
went to
he's put.
Juve.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember where he
he
was
was
before.
we were league with him when he was playing with them. He was decent. He apparently there was a lot of clubs going in for him, and I liked him. And then but then he went to Juve. But for me, I think eh, he's a decent shout out, but I just don't think he. This I'm not. I don't think he'll suit our system the way we want. I don't think he'll suit the end system.
You frozen there, bro.
I just think. Oh, sorry, bro. You got me back.
Yeah,
Sorry, man.
that's all good, bro. You just freezing a bit. That's all.
My back.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
back.
sorry, man. Yeah, I think my internet's a bit. Yeah, my internet's a bit shocking at the moment. I don't know why, but I think the Bremer deal. I just don't think the Bremer would suit our system, the end system. I just don't think it would. So I mean,
Well, that's
I'll probably
that's
put him.
where
I'll
I
probably
talk
put him my
about
fourth.
Sanchez.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's where I talk about the Sanchez, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need Sanchez is quick. Okay, he has a bit of
Yeah.
pace about him. He's a lot quicker than any centre back that we have. Even
Yeah.
Romero, I think, is quicker. With Ange, he likes to have those pacey like a fair, like he likes to have quicker centre backs. Sanchez might even stay. If I know he wants to leave, he's put in his transfer. I'm pretty sure he's told him he wants to go. But if Ange can convince him to stay and Ange wants him to stay, I'm not saying I'm saying right now. I don't think Sanchez should be at the club. I think he should be gone. However, if he suits Ange's system and he wants to keep him, that's an extra centre back we don't have to buy, and we could put that money towards going midfield or going forward. And then so that's my little thing on Sanchez. But the last person we're going to talk about is someone that we already know.
Yeah,
it's Mr. Clement Lenglet. Looks like apparently we've already agreed a deal with Barcelona for $6 million. I think that's
apparently we're going to do a swap deal with Gio for Lenglet.
Nah, well, apparently, but I think Gio's worth more than what Lenglet is. If they're going to chuck in Rafinha and we give him Winksy or something, they won't take Winks because Winks is never going to be a player that they want. Apparently, they're looking at Porro, but if they're going to give it, if they need to give us fucking,
hell no,
they need to give us Koundé. If they get Porro and Lo Celso, we get Koundé and Rafinha. That would really sort out our team. But for me, like Lenglet, he should be like the third centre back we get, right? So if we get, let's say, Tapsoba and then Tosin, if we can't afford to get Van de Ven, you get Lenglet. Yeah. So you'll have Romero and Tapsoba as your main two. Then you have your Tosin as your backup, and then after that you have your Lenglet. Whereas last season Lenglet was the go-to backup or the go-to starter for that left side. So for me, that's the smart deal to do. He knows the club. I know he's a bit slow though, so he won't suit really Ange's defense, but he does play better in the back four, just like Romero does. I personally think Romero does. I know a lot of people got quite confused last year because we had Conte and they're like, Romero can only play in the back five, yet he won the World Cup in the back four. And he played well there. So, and that's the thing is we don't have to rely on too many centre backs this season, so we can get rid. And for me, every centre back that we have, bar Romero, has to go. I even think Tanganga has to go. I know he's Tottenham through and through, but I just don't think he's it. I just don't think he's a top 6 player. I think he's bottom 10. Unfortunate because I did have high hopes. He came onto the scene looking good, but I think Tanganga's gone. But what would you be upset if we did get Lenglet as our third transfer of centre backs? Because I know we're looking at him now and possibly agreeing a deal, but if we did get Tosin and Tapsoba, would you be okay with getting Lenglet, or do you still think Lenglet's a no-go?
Look, I still think he's a no-go, but look, for $6 million, that's still I'll take him because I would take him. As I said, he's a no-brainer, but I would take him because he can play from the back. He has got the ball skills. We've seen a bit of it last year. He does look comfortable on the ball, and he does have a wicked left foot. He did that cross to Kane against Brentford, and
done that a few times throughout the season, and there was a few times that no one was on the end of it, and I thought it looked like when Toby used to do those obviously different kind of pass, but the technique, he seems like he had that's in his locker. It's a special pass that he has that he knows he can pull off, where he hits it from about halfway out to the halfway line on the left-hand side and curls it in for someone to get on the end of it.
So I mean, look, he is definitely a shout for a third choice as a centre back. So I mean, I wouldn't be that disappointed, but his defensive needs to be worked on, and he's got to do a lot better if he comes in as a centre back. He has to work on his defense because it's absolutely shocking. Like his attacking is fine. His attacking is fine. It's just his defense he needs to work on, especially and it's like these pacey centre backs. He's going to be up and down the field. He has to work on the speed as well. So I mean. Look, I wouldn't be that disappointed. I think $6 million is a steal for Lenglet, and it'd definitely be my third choice. I wouldn't pick him over Tapsoba or Tosin.
Yeah. Well, we're getting to the end of the video, but I want to hear your actual prediction. So, I've heard that you and me, I think, are on the same page. Tapsoba and Tosin is the two that we go for if we were going to get two centre backs in this transfer window.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? What do you think this club's going to fucking do?
Well, Mr. Levy will try to go for cheaper options. That's what he does. He goes for those cheaper options. I mean, look, I'm hoping this Tapsoba deal stays. I'm hoping he's already said he wants to come to Tottenham.
He's already agreed personal terms.
He's already agreed personal terms. It's just the money that Levy. It's just dollar signs when Levy sees. He goes, "Oh no, that's too much. I can't pay that," or he's not worth that. I mean, just pay the goddamn money. Everyone wants to come. Why stop him? It's because of the money. So I mean, look, just pay the 40 or 50 mil he's worth. Just pay that. Let's move on. Get the Tosin in. He's gotta be smart with it. So I mean, yeah, look, he has to be smart with his money. He's only gonna give Ange 100 mil. So I mean, yeah, obviously you gotta be smart with it, but it's a no-brainer. It's literally a no-brainer. Tapsoba's a no-brainer. He's literally up. He's a player that I think we're all shouting for. He's a centre back.
I think he could be a superstar. To be honest, I think just his physicality. He's an athlete, and these day and age, if you're an athlete, that's all you really need. Coaches they can mold a play around an athlete. But if someone's not willing to run, not willing to put their body on the line, 9 times out of 10, their talent isn't enough.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think is going to happen. I reckon. Like, I'm hoping Tapsoba deal gets done. I think we will get it done. To be honest, I think Tapsoba is going to be the guy I think that's why we went for Vicaria instead of Raya. I think the Tapsoba deal is more important, and the Madison deal is more important. I think they're the two big deals.
They're priorities.
And I think after that it'll be a few sales, and then it'll be the second centre back. But I would not be surprised if Tapsoba's ready to sign. We're fucking around 30 mil instead of 40 to 50, and then we go and get Tosin and fucking Lenglet, and that's our centre backs next season. Lenglet, Romero, and Tosin. That would not surprise me.
That would not surprise me either, to be honest. Yeah,
and if that happens, we're raging.
I was actually thinking that.
No, it makes no sense, but that's what Levy would do to us as a club. But
hopes up and just show him down.
I'm trying to be optimistic. If we get, like I said, Tapsoba and Tosin, and then Lenglet is a third option down here towards the end of the fucking transfer window, then I'm happy days. I do think once we get the first centre back, we need to move over to Madison and secure that deal, and then come back to the second centre back. But anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Well, I know we're off the defensive, but as you said, like about the Madison deal, I think Newcastle are not going in for him because they
can't. Not after the Tonali deal, they have to.
Deal. So I mean, look, nobody else is going for him. No other clubs going for him. No other clubs looked at him
because no one needs him in other clubs.
Exactly, this is a steal. Okay, it's going to be a pricey steal, but it's a play.
Internet playing up again. You're frozen. Can you hear me?
Jeez.
Yeah, you back?
Sorry, bro. Yeah, sorry, man. My internet's shocking. What the hell? Yeah, look, it's a player we'd be crying for. It's a player we need. It's an Ericsson fix. So I mean, yeah, that was off the actual subject of the defense, but look, I think you're right. If we don't get this Tapsoba deal done, yeah, we could go for Tosin and Lenglet as our two centre backs.
Probably. I will quickly add on to that Madison. I have a crazy theory that if Lo Celso is willing to stay, and we do get Matty, do get good old James, then why not have Gio and James as the two creative midfielders in the team, and sell someone else? Hoiberg is being Dombele. Hoiberg is being looked at by Bayern. I'm willing to lose Hoiberg if Gio wants to stay. I think we have the same kind of player in Bentancur, Basuma, and Skip. So if Hoiberg does go, however, Hoiberg is an engine on his day, and I do think he was overplayed last season. even though I criticised him a hell of a lot. I can't fault his heart and his passion, but we need more than that now. But I don't know, guys. We are going to wrap this up. Please let us know down below who you think we should sign in the centre back role. Can put down below if there's anybody else you think that we haven't highlighted today who could take, who could take us to the next level in the defensive line. And if you think we're talking fucking shit, then let us know that too, guys. We're happy to be wrong. We don't know everything. So on that note, Delane, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm glad to see you back this season. To everyone that's watching, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Make sure you're sharing it around. Big up to yourselves. And as we always say here at Total Oz Spurs, stay Spursy, guys.
Stay Spursy.